What I'd like to do is share with you all a concept known as emotional intelligence. Corporate executives, everybody, if you wanted to move up in management, not necessarily at this store, but if you wanted to go from middle management to the C-suite, it was all about emotional intelligence. And the question is, what is emotional intelligence? It's a skill, it's a tool to help you identify, use, understand, and manage your own emotion. And if you can do that, if you can manage your own emotions, you have the tools to better communicate with people, to manage conflict, as some of the management team needs to do, to communicate effectively, manage your own stress, because you're recognizing what is happening with yourself and your emotions, and you're able to short circuit the natural processes that emotions can have on. Let me tell you how it works. Now, most of us are aware that the brain has two hemispheres. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. One is for more artistics and one's for more analytics. We're aware of that, right? Are you also aware that those two hemispheres sit on top of a structure called the limbic system? And that's your oldest part of your brain. And that brain operates on a purely emotional level. So if you hear a sharp noise, what happens? What happens to you physically? You jump, right? Yeah, you jump. What's physically happening is an input, oral, sight, smell, taste, sound, touch, hit your limbic system. And it triggered a physiological response before an intellectual processing happened. What Holly said is that you jump. What you actually are doing, the first response is you crouch, because your body is protecting the most exposed part of your brain. Your adrenal glands fire adrenaline into your muscles so that you can either fight or run. Right? So those are the things. So that's what's happening physiologically. But the reason it's happening is because an input hit your limbic system, and then that information informed your intellect. Then later on, and when I say later, we're talking milliseconds, later on you realize, oh, I know that sound, that's a balloon. I've heard it 18,000 times. Yet every time we hear it, what happens? So that's what I'm saying. So it happens before your intellect kicks in. If you understand that you have a physical response on an emotional level, that limbic system only processes 5 emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, and shame. Every emotion that you feel is some combination of these things. I'm going to give you 2 examples. One's going to be fun, and then one's going to be real.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the fun one. I'm going to give you some information, and each one of you is going to process it. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Okay, freeze. Okay, think right now what the emotional stew that happened. For some of us, that emotional stew was 4 parts happiness, half a sprinkle of shame, right? For some of us, that emotional stew was 3 parts fear, 2 parts anger, right? So for each one of us, in that exact moment, it hit. That was the fun. Now, let me make a real example. Does anybody recognize this?
Yes.
Okay. This Wednesday, these were being handed out. There was an emotional response. Now, I'm going to share mine. My emotional stew had 2 parts happiness, had a scoop of shame in there, had a scoop of fear. That number and that emotion informed my intellect. If I have too much fear rolling in my system, how am I approaching my next customer? Hold that thought. If you have too much of one emotion, you have been hijacked. You have been emotionally hijacked.
Yes.
People, they're not even thinking because their emotions have hijacked them. But how is that affecting you individually? How that affects you individually is a thing called self-awareness. Okay? So let's get back. Pat, you're happy all the time. No, I'm not. but I am self-aware. And I realize that just as I process information emotionally, you process information emotionally, you process information emotionally, all of us. So if I'm having a bad day and I walk around like this, I'm influencing every one of you. What I project will affect people. I make it my business to know what my physical triggers are, right? I know when I'm talking to certain of our clients and they ask me for a discount before I've even told them where stuff is, I can feel my ear get hot. That's the emotional response to the information they're giving me. And when I feel my ears, I'll take a breath. Because I don't want to give them back what they're giving me. So now that you're at least aware that you are processing all the information that hits you, first on an emotional level, and then of course intellect. Now that you are aware of that, it's just a simple step of logic that everyone else around you is also feeling that. And I'm not saying, oh, now act nice to everybody. No, I'm not saying that, please. We're adults here. Listen, I know that if Marty is coming back from vacation, he is feeling good. Yeah. Because I know my triggers, I'm going to make my way near Marty. Because Marty's exuding some great feelings, and I'm going to catch some of those feelings. Right? And I knew, and I'm going to say my good friend Ahmad, who was having a kind of rough week earlier this week.
No.
When I see Ahmad, because I know he's having a rough week, I'm going to go up to Ahmad and I'm going to say, you're good.
I'm good.
Right?
I'm good.
Right?
I see that advertising. Yeah.
Right? You're good.
Always. Thank God.
Because we are self-aware. I have two takeaways for today.
Yes.
First takeaway is that you control your response to those emotional signals and that you should start to become aware of your triggers. Okay? Like I said, it's taken me a long time to realize that my ears burn. That's my trigger. Figure out what yours are. And you know what they are. You know how you feel. You know, like your chest might get tight. You know, you might do like I do, start with the fingers. And then also the second takeaway is to realize that your family, your friends, your coworkers all react and respond to the emotional signals that you are sending. Okay? So as long as you are aware of that, we have the foundation as individuals to just become our better versions of ourselves. And with that, I thank you all for your attention. Okay.